final walkthrough is one last step before you hit closing, and it's an important step. You know, it's easy to go to the final walkthrough and kind of get enamored with the house that's going to be yours and the newness, and you know, I want to paint that wall, my furniture is going to go here. But you want to take the time to take the final walkthrough seriously, because once you sign the paperwork to buy the house and the money's transferred, the house is yours, and that means any problems are yours as well. So you want to take the time, make sure the house is be delivered in the manner that you expected it to be, which usually is the last time you saw it, which was probably the home inspection. So what can happen? The house could get damaged from movers. The house could get damaged, say a storm came through and a tree branch fell on a deck and there's some damage to the deck. You just want to make sure none of that has happened. The other thing is contractually they may have agreed to do a repair, like say the electric panel needed to be replaced. You also might have agreed that some furniture gets left behind, or you might have agreed that something goes that would normally stay with the house. Maybe you don't want the washer and dryer because it's old, or oftentimes an old above ground pool, buyers will ask that that's removed. And then after you check all that stuff, you want to make sure everything's working properly in the home. Check the doors, check the windows, run the water, make sure the water pressure is there, make sure the water is draining and there's no clogs in the drain, make sure the HVAC system is working, check underneath the sinks to make sure there's no leaks that were unexpected and that weren't there before, check the ceiling to see if there's any fresh water stains. Just go through the house and make sure that there's nothing happening with the house that you're going to have to take on that you weren't expecting to begin with. The final walkthrough is very, very important. Secondly, or I should say lastly, is lots of times sellers will leave paints and construction materials behind that might go with the house, or sometimes they just it's kind of a pet peeve of mine. They just leave a bunch of stuff they don't want to get rid of and say, oh, this is for you. But don't get stuck with dried paint. That costs money to remove. It's $5 or $10 a bucket to bring it down to your local recycle center to get rid of it. You know, make sure the paints are current and are actually usable, and any materials that are left behind actually go with the house. The other thing is sometimes they'll leave a piece of furniture or two behind and say, oh, we thought we'd leave this for you. Come to find out it's a 50-year-old metal desk in the basement that weighs 400 pounds, and they built a room around it and it won't fit through the door. Don't take on problems that aren't yours. They've agreed to deliver the house a certain way, so make sure it's delivered that way. The final walkthrough is important, and ultimately it will save you money if you're not taking on problems that you shouldn't.